Let's talk about their upcoming matchup against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, at this point now, it's become a must-win. They're going on the road to Lambeau Field. I have a stat here that I was like, oh my God. The 49ers playoff odds per PFF. With a win at Green Bay, it rises to 52%. With a loss, it drops to 15%. Ouch. That's brutal. That's like season over. Good night. Now, we are in a weaker division, but we can't seem to beat these weaker teams. I mean, there are a few plays away from being 8-2. And it's crazy to think about that. You know, when you look at the Texans last night, they were 7-4. We could have been 6-4. You know, it's ridiculous how they've lost these games and how they've just given it up. And obviously, look, Devondre Campbell has not really been the right answer. Yes, he had like 7 tackles, but I thought against the Seahawks, he didn't look as dynamic. He's not a dynamic player. No. He's just a big linebacker who has some experience, but he's no Dre Greenlaw, that's for sure. Christian McCaffrey is not in midseason form. It almost seems like he's in preseason form because he hasn't been playing. When he gets the ball, he doesn't have that explosive ability. Now, is it because he's being cautious about his both of his Achilles? Or is it that he's just not really in football shape at the moment? Because he's only played in 2 games. It's not like when he was not in these games, he was hitting the turf, running as fast as he can. No, I mean, look, they have some things that they got to shore up. But here's the thing. Going against the Packers, do you see the Niners being able to get a win in Green Bay?
I do think they can beat Green Bay. I don't know that I'm going to pick them to do so, but Green Bay is beatable themselves. They have their own struggles right now.
They almost lost to the Bears.
Correct. Jair Alexander may miss this game. He's a very important piece for them. Jordan Love there's another guy right here. I mean, maybe the Packers will be very happy that they paid Jordan Love, but we don't know for sure yet on Jordan Love. Jordan Love has some of the intangibles that maybe Brock doesn't, that I've talked about, but he can't protect the football at all. I mean, every game he'll give you 3 touchdowns, but he's going to turn the ball over at least once, probably 2, even 3 times. So he's got to clean that up in his game. The 49ers are going to have their opportunities. They're probably going to force a turnover or 2. And I think they can score on Green Bay. They have their flaws, but also, if Bosa doesn't play, I don't know how you're going to get pressure on Jordan Love. You look at that offensive line; it's one of the higher rated offensive lines in pass protection already. So if you don't have Bosa and you don't blitz, I don't know how you're going to get pressure on him. And if Jordan Love can just camp back there, it's going to be a problem. So I don't know that I'll pick the 49ers, but certainly, yes, they can beat the Packers. The Packers are a beatable team right now. I believe that.
And the last question, as we wrap things up on our segment for the 49ers, we're talking to Jesse Naylor, host of Last Second Sports. You can follow him on YouTube, Instagram, and X. Is this season salvageable? Do you think Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff, the team, can salvage this season? Or do you think it may be time to look towards next season?
I said in the offseason that I would tear the team down. I would have done it this last offseason because the likelihood of you winning a Super Bowl was slim to none. And the longer you hang on to these contracts and these aging players, the further back you're setting the franchise, that you're turning the keys over to Brock Purdy, you're handing it over to these young guys. It's going to be a lot harder to build around them if you hang on to the Debos and the Kittles and the Trents and the CMCs. But I knew the 49ers wouldn't do that. I then made the claim again after the Chiefs game. I knew they weren't going to do it still, but I was like, hey, just remember, I did say this. Can they salvage the season? What does that mean? Salvage the season to me means, can you make the playoffs? And the answer is yes. But they're going to have to go bare minimum 5-2 down the stretch. None of those losses. They can't lose to Green Bay. They can't lose to the Rams. And they can't lose to the Cardinals. They have to for sure win those 3 and pick up 2 more along the way. And then they need some help as well to win the division. Because right now, as it stands, the Cardinals have 4 division games remaining. They have 0 losses. So even if the 49ers and the Cardinals end up with the same record and the 49ers beat them in Week 18, unless the Cardinals lost twice more In the 2 Seattle games and the Rams game, it's not going to matter. They'll still own the tiebreaker. That game will mean nothing to the Cardinals. So we need, as 49er fans, need to hope that the Cardinals lose twice between the 2 Seahawks games and the Rams game. And then if the 49ers can beat them in week 18 and pick up wins along the way, they have a chance. But they need a lot of help. It's not likely, but it is possible.
The 49ers are currently have the second worst divisional record in the NFC, ahead of only the New York Giants. That's brutal. Wow. What has happened to this team? We'll see how it plays out the rest of the season. Jesse, I want to thank you so much for coming on here and talking Niners. We'll have to do it again. Where can everyone find you and all your content?
You can just find me at Last Second Sports. Check me out there or on X at JNay_LSS. Andre, thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Guys, when we come back, we'll be talking college football, Warriors, and some 3C 2A scores. You're listening to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.